So let's look at part 3 of this exam and OBJ of WASSCE November 2002. Now, for question 21, it says if tan 60 degrees is equal to 20 tan x, find x. So what that means is that you are required to find to make x the subject of the formula. So the first thing you want to do is to divide. So you have 2 left here, 2 tan x. Then what is tan 60? Tan 60 is essentially what do you call it now? Root 3. Tan 60 is a standard angle. So using my knowledge of special angles, I can tell that tan 60 is what? Root 3. Because tan 30 is actually 1 over root 3 or root 3 over 3. These are things you should be able to remember. So that means that tan x, 2 tan x will be equal to root 3 and tan x will be equal to root 3 over 2, meaning that x will be equal to tan inverse root 3 over 2. Now, what is tan inverse root 3 over 2? You can go ahead. This is same thing as tan inverse. I'll put this in bracket. This is 1.732 divided by 2, if I got that right, which will be tan inverse of 0.8, if I'm right, 66. So you go to your 4-figure table and try to figure out what tan inverse 0.866 will be. Figure table, just check. Go to tan. If you're using this one, quite an old one though. If you're using that, you go to page 4 in this one. So you look for 0.886. So you go to your 4-figure table, look for you have 0.886. If you check somewhere around that's something around 40. So by my check, it's like 40 under almost 9. So I'll just say that will be 40.9 degrees. So you read from inside the table to out of the angle you're looking for, and that you are told to approximate to the nearest degree, and that will be what? 41 degrees. Then question 22 says the length of a rectangle is 2 cm longer than the breadth. For questions like this, I always advise students draw the figure. So this is the length of the rectangle. So the length of the rectangle is what? 2 cm longer than the breadth. So I can reference the breadth. That means the length will be the breadth plus 2, the breadth plus 2. Now, we are told that if the perimeter of the rectangle is what? 60. Perimeter is what? 60, and that is equal to 2 times the length plus the breadth. What is the length? The length is what? B plus 2, and then plus this B you have here. So what would that be? Now, see what I always advise students to do. As you see, take care of. These two will cancel. This will be 30 equal to what? 2b plus 2. These two will cross over, and that will have 2b plus 2 equal to 30, which means that 2b will be equal to 30 minus 2, and 2b will be equal to what? 28. So what is b? B will be 14 cm. Were we told to find breadth? Yes. So if we're told to find breadth, our answer obviously will be what? 14. And if you've done that exam, that will be C. I think for this one, the answer here is also C. Right? The answer for that is also C. We go to question 23. We are told to simplify x squared minus 3x plus 2 over x squared minus 4. This comes under a topic called algebraic fraction. This comes under a topic called what? Algebraic fractions. Now, what's an algebraic fraction? An algebraic fraction is any fraction such that the numerator and the denominator are expressed as what? Algebraic terms, or expressed in algebraic terms. So, this is quadratic in nature, or these are quadratic in nature. So, first of all, try to break this one. This one I can easily break. This one they call difference of two squares. This will be x squared minus 2 squared, and which will be x plus 2 into x minus 2. So I've gotten this one. How do I break this? X squared minus 3x plus 2. The plus 2 here will suggest that the factors I'm looking for must either both be positive or both be negative. The minus here suggests to me that the factors I'm looking for would now confirm that they will both be negative. So with that, I know this will be x minus 1 into x minus 2. How? Look at these two. Think of two numbers such that when you multiply them, you get 2, and when you add them, you get negative 3. So these are the factors I'm going to work with. So I will then rewrite this. I'm going to have x minus 1 into x minus 2 divided by x plus 2. That's for this part. Now remember, this is for this part, and this one is for this part. And that will be into x minus 2. You see that these two will easily cancel themselves out, and what you will be left to be x minus 1 divided by x plus 2. If you check the exam, answer close to that is D. D will be your correct answer. D becomes your correct answer. Now we look at question 24. Question 24 is testing your knowledge of quadratic equations, and you are told that x squared minus k squared is equal to 0. It says x squared minus k squared is equal to 0, where k is an integer. An integer is a number that can be what? Positive or negative. A whole number essentially that can be positive or negative. Which of the following are true about the roots of the equation? Which of the following are true about the roots of the equation? Now, the first Roman figure point says that two roots are equal. Two roots are equal. The second Roman figure says sum of the two roots is 0. Sum of the two roots are, or is rather, is 0. Now, Roman figure 3 says that difference of the two roots, difference of the two roots is 2x. The difference of the two roots is what? 2x. So let's confirm that. Now, from this expression, we know that x squared will be equal to what? K squared. Is that not? So x will essentially be equal to plus or minus the square root of what? K squared. Is that not? And that will mean that x will be equal to plus or minus k. So we will use this to mirror what has been said. Two roots are equal. The two roots are equal. Yes. Would that be the case? Two roots are equal. Are they equal? No. So this one is not correct. Sorry, this is not correct. Because I'm having one of the roots as positive and one of the roots as what? Negative. So that will not be correct. The next one, sum of the two roots is 0. That's correct. K plus negative k will give me 0. Is that not? So this is correct. Now, difference of the two roots is 2x. Now, x is equal to, now difference of the two roots will be like saying minus k minus k, and that will be negative 2k, which will also be like saying k minus minus k. Is that not? And that will also be what? 2k. Now, but here they say the difference of the two roots is what? 2x. No. The difference of the two roots technically is not 2x. Although there may be some argument to say, okay, what is the implication of 2x? If I multiply all the terms by 2, fine. But looking at it, the answer is just this one. It's not the answer. The difference of the two roots is not 2x, it is 2k. See, when you are solving questions in an exam, pay attention to the details. They just succeeded in trying to confuse me here, but we are smarter than them. So the answer is essentially what? Roman figure 2. And that is what? B. In fact, they were even nice to help us in this examination by not putting the other option. So if you just see only this one, you know that that should be the answer, and then you move on. Alright, we go to question 25. Question 25 is testing my knowledge of circle geometry. Circle geometry. Such an interesting topic it is. Such an interesting topic it is. Now this one, I'll be doing another video soon on circle geometry. I'm going to have a live session on circle geometry, and I want us to hook up to have that class. This is 27. This is x. These two sides are equal, to suggest that this triangle PQR is isosceles. Beautiful. Now this is S and this is T. Now, to keep things straight, there are two major areas of circle geometry. There is circle geometry that tends to three major concepts. That of angle at the center equal to angle at the center equal to 2 and angle at the circumference. There's another that talks about cyclic chords. There's another that talks about same segment. Is that same segment? Yeah, same segment. So that's one area. There's another one that talks about tangents and alternate segments. So this question is testing your knowledge of tangents and what? Alternate segments. So let's see how this works. Now, look at this. So this angle x is equal to this angle here. What is the concept tested? There is alternate segment. So angle QPR is equal to x. And what's the concept tested there? Alternate segments. Alternate segment is what is tested there. Alright, now if this is 27, this also will be 27. Angle PRQ is equal to 27 degrees. What's the reason for that? Base angles of isosceles triangle. The base angles of isosceles triangle will produce this answer. These two angles will be equal. Now, let's look at a triangle PQR. We're going to have that x by diagram, I have the x plus 27 plus 27 is equal to 180 degrees. X plus 27 plus 27 is equal to 180 degrees. And what's the reason for that? We call that angle sum of triangle. I usually will write at the end there, but because I don't have enough space, I have to put it on that. Now, what that means is that x plus 54 is equal to 180 degrees, and x will be equal to 180 minus 54 degrees. X will be equal to 126 degrees. So the answer to this question will be what? 126 degrees. And if you solve that well in that exam, D will be your correct answer. 6. It says, which of the following is/are not the measures of dispersion? So measures of dispersion. Now, what are the options given to us? We are given Roman figure 1, range. We are given Roman figure 2, variance. We are given Roman figure 3, mode. So which of the following are not a measure of what? Dispersion. Now, when we come to statistics, there are two aspects we consider. There's something we call measures of central tendency and measures of what? Dispersion. The measure of dispersion talks about spread, how these things are being spread. So, the measures of central tendency, there are about 4 of them. We have, if I'm right, you have mode, median, what's the other one? Mean and range. These are the measures of what? Central tendencies. Now, for measures of dispersion, you have about 3 of them, if I'm right. You have mean deviation, you have standard deviation, you have variance. You have mean deviation, you have variance, and you have what? Standard deviation. And then for me, if in the course of listening to this, you feel that options I've given you are not right, you can always correct us. We are always open to learn. So if that is right, it means only this is a measure of what? Central tendency. Measure of dispersion. Now, but the question says which are not. So it means 1 and 2 are not measures of II3. Is that II3? Yes, fine. Are not measures of dispersion. So that settles that. Figure 1 and 3 are not measures of what? Dispersion. Now let's look at question number 27. It takes an athlete. Now, when you're dealing with word problems, try as much as possible to scribble something down. It gives you a better way to answer the question. It says it takes an athlete 45 minutes to jog a distance of 6 kilometers. So 6 kilometers corresponds to 45 minutes. Now, if his average speed is increased by what? 2 kilometers per hour. So it means that, now hear what this one means. It means that his speed is actually what it was before plus 2 kilometers per hour. So what I'm trying to do, as I'm reading the question, I'm trying to get the ideas out. How long will it take the athlete to cover the same distance? The same distance is being covered. This is testing your knowledge of proportion. What kind of proportion is tested here? It is called indirect. It's not direct, it's indirect. Now I'll explain why. It takes an athlete 45 minutes to jog a distance of 6 kilometers. 6 kilometers is a fixed distance. If his average speed is increased by 2 kilometers per hour, how long will it take the athlete to cover the same distance? When you increase speed, you have reduced time. That's the concept here. As long as distance is fixed, speed and time will vary inversely. If the speed is increased, the time will reduce. If the speed is reduced, the time will increase. So that's the logic in this question. So, how do I go about this? Now, look at the distance covered is what? 6 kilometers. The distance covered is what? 6 kilometers. So, I need to calculate the speed here. I need to calculate the speed here. So, I'll convert this to hours. So, 45 minutes will be equivalent to 45 over 60 hours. And that will be 3/4 of an hour. So the speed here will be what? 6 divided by 3/4. And that will essentially be saying 6 times 4/3 if I've done my math right. And this will be like saying 2, which will be 8 kilometers per hour. Now, it means that the total speed, the new speed will now be what? new speed. Please, when you're solving questions, don't be afraid to make a mistake. If you make a mistake, you correct yourself. So it would mean that the new speed, which is 10 kilometers per hour, just writing that for emphasis sake, will be equal to the distance, which is the same, divided by the time which we are looking for. So time will now be what? It will be 6 divided by 10 in hours. 6 divided by 10 in hours, which will be what? 3/5 hours. Now, 3/5 can be converted to minutes. 3/5 can be converted to minutes. That will be 3/5 times, what do you call it, times 60/1 in minutes. Because the answer given to me here is what? Minutes. This will give me 12, and that will give me 36 minutes. 36 what? Minutes. So what is tested here is what is called indirect proportion. That is, the distance remains the same. So we'll go to question 28. In 28, it says the probability that Ade and his dog will be alive in 10 years' time are 0.3 and 0.8 and 0.3. The probabilities that Ade lives is equal to 0.8. Probability dog lives will be 0.3. That's what they're trying to say. What is probability that they will both be alive in 10 years time? So probability, let me write probability so it's not misleading. Probe. So probability both alive will be equal to 0.8 times 0.3, and that will be 0.24. So that's the probability that both will be alive. So in that exam, this will be C, and sorry for that, this should also be what? C. So you see that the questions are pretty cheap. They are not as difficult as we would imagine them to be. Alright, go to question 29. And in 29, we have a straight line with angles given. This is x, this is 36, this is 3x, and this is y. Alright, okay, this is 56, sorry about that. And then we're told to find y. Now, the first thing you need to do is look at a straight line. This 3x plus x plus 56 must be equal to 180 degrees. What's the reason for that? Angles on a straight line. The angles on a straight line will sum up to what? 180 degrees. So add this will be 4x plus 56 equal to 180 degrees. Now, I always tell students, when you're solving, also try to vary your approach. Now, I'm going to use a different approach here. 4 can divide everything through. This will be x plus 14 equal to 45. I chose to do that. I love to play with factors a lot. So, this will be x equal to 45 minus 14, and x will be equal to 31 degrees. Now, y is equal to, now if you watch the way this thing is done, take note of where I'm putting arrows now. You will observe that y is x plus 56. What's the reason for that? Vertically opposite angles. So vertically opposite angles will be the reason for that. Now watch the intersection of the lines. This one and this one. So this angle must be equal to these two angles here. So y will be equal to 31 plus 56, and that will give me 87 degrees. So if I've solved that problem correctly, my answer will be C. If I've solved that correctly, My answer will be C. When I solve, I always give room for errors because sometimes what you expected to see in the question may not be what you're seeing while solving. So question number 30, which will be the one we'll take before we take a little rest. It says x plus 2y, I'm right with that, equal to 1, and x minus y is equal to 2. This is testing your knowledge of simultaneous equations. But be careful. You're not told to find x or find y. You're told to find x plus y. This is where a lot of students miss it in this exam. You've not taken out time to read instruction. And if you don't read instruction, you're going to be prone to a lot of errors. So this is what we are told to handle. So how do you go about that? So I will start by ruling. I like my ruling approach. And I want to eliminate x. For this question, elimination will work. So I will eliminate by subtracting. So 2y minus minus, that will mean 2y plus y will give me 3y equal to 1 minus 2, and that will be 1. So y will be equal to 1 over 3. Is that 1 or minus 1? That will be minus 1. Sorry about that. Okay, so I've done that. Now, to get x now, I will put y equal to minus 1 over 3 in x minus y equal to 2. I can use any one. I'll not be penalized for that. So this will be x minus negative 1 over 3 equal to 2, and then x plus 1 over 3 will be equal to 2. So x will now be equal to 2 minus 1 over 3. That means x is essentially like saying 3, 6 minus 1, and that will be 5 over 3. So let's see, you are told to find x plus y. That will be 5 over 3. Sorry, that will be minus, okay, 5 over 3, I'm correct, minus 1 over 3, and that will be 4 over 3. So my answer will be what? 4 over 3, or as it is in this exam, 1 number 1 over 3. And if you solve that in that exam correctly, your answer will be A. Right?